Welcome back to Wembley, where the face painters have been out in force. Brazil are the visitors. Kick-off coming up at 7:30. The teams will be on their way in a few minutes. A short time ago, Gabriel Clark spoke to Roy Hodgson.
Well, it's the start of a key year for England. A strong team, of course, tonight. But, Roy, not too many will have seen Cahill and Smalling as your centre-back pairing. What's the thinking?
Well, I mean, it's just a question of selection, really. I mean, obviously, there's four of them, all are capable of playing. To some extent, Phil Jagielka is suffering from a slight knock. He could have played, but I prefer not to throw him out there. And also, I'm very interested to see Gary Cahill and Chris Smalling together. They're both very, very athletic players. I think they're players who are capable of dealing with the pace and the mobility of the Brazilian team. So let's hope I'm right.
And a word on Ashley Cole, maybe the least celebrated of England's 100 cap club. Is that fair?
Well, not with us, he isn't. I mean, the fact is I can't make sort of judgments, if you like, on who is to be the most celebrated, who is to be the least celebrated. As far as we're concerned, we're definitely celebrating it. We think it's a wonderful achievement, and it's also to be noted that he's played every single one of those 100 games from the start of the match, which is not to be sneezed at or sniffed at either. So I think it's a great achievement, and we're delighted for him.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Roy Hodgson, let me ask you, Roy Keane, whether there's a bigger friendly than this. A, it's Brazil, but B, there's these massive World Cup qualifiers for England coming up in March.
Oh, very much so. As you said, there's a couple of tough qualifiers. I think England need to try and build a little bit of momentum. I think they've been poor in their last few games, a little bit inconsistent. And of course, you don't want to embarrass yourself against Brazil tonight. Scolari's first match in charge. And listen, there's always a lot at stake, their pride, because if England aren't really at it tonight, then Brazil could make fools of them.
Gerrard and Wilshere in midfield, how would you like to play alongside?
Well, on paper, it looks a good partnership, but of course, both have had injury problems, especially Wilshere. People keep talking about Wilshere being world class. I think he's a hell of a lot to do yet before we can say that, but potentially there could be a good partnership for over the next year or two.
Lee, what preparation is this for a crucial away game in Montenegro? I mean, Brazil at home is a different kettle of fish to Montenegro away.
It is, but I think, you've got to play all sorts of opposition, and I think leading up to a game, you want to be tested, and they certainly will be tested all over the pitch today with Neymar, Ronaldinho, Oscar, Fabiano against you. But let's not forget, we've got some pace. Walcott, Rooney, Wilshere, Gerrard, we've got some players who can hurt them as well. So I think it's a really even balanced game, bearing in mind that England are at home, but playing against a very good Brazilians.
What can we see tonight that will reassure us that England can go and do the business in Podgorica?
Well, it's a different sort of challenge. I think this is a longer-term view, really. Can we compete against these sorts of teams? We know going to Montenegro, going to Ukraine later in the qualifying campaign, they're a different type of challenge. But once, all being well, they qualify for a World Cup, then you've got to play against world-class teams and test yourself against the best. And it's a great learning experience, especially for the likes of Cahill and Smalling at centre-back.
There's a lot on this, because you don't want to be going into the next game, the qualifying game, and you've got a thumping at home, 3 or 4-0. You need to keep your confidence up, and these players are playing for places.
It's England against Brazil at Wembley Stadium. Your commentators, Andy Townsend and Clive Tilsley.
This is what you do it for. This is why most of us wanted to be footballers at some time in our lives. Brazil at Wembley, the fantasy football fixture for an Englishman. Only twice, once before many of you were born, once nearly 23 years ago, have England beaten Brazil here. And if you're lucky enough to be so young that you don't really know what Gary Lineker did before Chris Badverts, well, he scored England's last winning goal against Brazil in 1990. It's a prestige game for England. It's a landmark match for Brazil. A new coach or an old coach revisited, a World Cup winning coach to oversee Brazil's preparations for a World Cup on home soil next year. They've never won the World Cup in Brazil, and their bid to rectify that begins here, back under the watchful eye of Phil Scolari. As World Cup host, Brazil qualify automatically for the finals. Nothing automatic about England's presence in Brazil next year. Steven Gerrard there has said as much this week, admitting that behind the honour of captaining England here tonight is the distraction of tackling group leaders Montenegro in Podgorica towards the end of next month. England do have another prestige friendly with Brazil in Rio at the start of June, and they don't want to be flying out there as tourists. They want that game to be a site visit for 2014. Brazil have fallen in the quarter-finals of the last 2 World Cups. We can do that. So they've turned to the last man to coach them to the supreme prize, and he has turned to one of his world champion team of 2002, recording Ronaldinho to the squad and to the team. Special word from Sir Bobby Charlton for him. 11 years Neymar's senior. And the original carnival party animal is now asked to set the example for the young gun stood next to him. It should be a fun ride. On the occasion of Ashley Cole's 100th appearance for England, a presentation to Steven Gerrard, who reached that milestone in Stockholm in November. The award of a golden cap by the FA, represented tonight by England's most capped player on the left there, Peter Shilton. Cole's golden cap will be presented later in the season. And there's also a presentation to Ronaldinho on the occasion of what the Brazilian Federation are calling his 100th appearance, for which every football statistician will tell you is actually his 95th official game for Brazil. It's a dark and dastardly world, football statistics, don't go there. But officially, he's not quite reached 100 yet. But he has been World Player of the Year twice, so I think he's worthy of the honour.
Tonight, we are proud to recognise one of England's all-time great players too. It is fitting that on the evening we remember England's World Cup winning captain Bobby Moore, who himself won 108 England caps, that we are able to welcome another player into the 100-cap Hall of Fame. Last November, in Sweden, Steven Gerrard became only the 6th Englishman to have represented his country 100 times or more. Joining us on the pitch now to present Steven with a commemorative cap in honour of this wonderful achievement is England's record cap holder with 125 England appearances to his name, Peter Shilton.
Gerrard has admitted that he's eyeing Shilton's record of 125 appearances, maybe more realistically David Beckham's outfield record of 115 caps. Made his England debut alongside Messrs Beckham, Scholes and Shearer over 12 years ago, and tonight captains his country for the 26th time.
Standing and respect the national anthems performed by the band of the Grenadier Guards.
sense of occasion, a real sense of anticipation. England versus Brazil is coming live next. As you've heard already, it is 20 years since Bobby Moore lost his fight with bowel cancer at the age of 51, and before kick-off this evening there will be a period of reflection here to remember that, to remember those that lost their lives. More than 200 victims of a fire in a nightclub at Santa Maria in southern Brazil just 10 days ago. And as today is the 55th anniversary of the Munich air disaster, which cost the precious lives of 23 people, among them 8 Manchester United footballers in 1958. The fans here will now be asked to observe a period of silence. And as football mourns, a poignant moment for us to remember David Oates and Malcolm Brodie, a broadcaster and a writer on our national game, both of whom will be dearly missed.
We now ask all supporters of England and Brazil to observe a period of silence to remember those who lost their lives in the tragic Santa Maria fire and the 1958 Munich air disaster. We remember also that 20 years ago England lost its great World Cup winning captain Bobby Moore. They will never be forgotten. The referee will blow his whistle to indicate the start and finish of the period of silence.
Really does beg a belief that there are people who would want to disrupt something like that. A little piece of England history tonight. The first time that 2 Centurions will have appeared together in the same England team. Cap number 101 for skipper Steven Gerrard, cap number 100 for Ashley Cole. And a reminder that for all their achievements at club level, both Champions League winners, it's the feats of men like Shilton, Beckham, Charlton, Moore, Wright in England shirts that have secured their places in the nation's hearts. We do have a love-hate relationship with our national football team. You've only got to sense the love going out of Paul Gascoigne this week to know how football fans feel about the players who do their country proud. So, England versus Brazil. It doesn't happen every year. It's happening twice this year. Who knows about next year? 2 teams with 2014 on their minds, but Andy, this is a night to savour in its own right. Did you ever play against Brazil?
Do you know, Clive, I don't think I did. I would love to have had the opportunity to have had a go playing against a Brazilian team. I think it's the ultimate challenge for any international footballer. Managed to play against some very good teams, but not this one. It's a special night, this is, for the England players. I think it's a special night for everybody here. I think we all come here with a real genuine sense of anticipation and seeing something quite special.
Gary Cahill alongside Chris Smalling here at the heart of the England defence. They have played an hour's international football together in that game that Stuart Pearce took charge of against Holland back in February. Gerrard to Walcott, starting an England international for only the second time under Roy Hodgson, and the first one lasted about 10 minutes before he was injured, but broken up by Ramirez of Chelsea.
Familiar good run from Ramirez. We're used to seeing that Chelsea shirt. Once he gets going and gets some daylight in front of him, he's very, very difficult to stop. He's one that England will have to keep an eye on, amongst many out there tonight.
Gerrard and Wilshere getting their act together immediately. They played only 13 minutes together for their country. Wilshere was taken late, but Cleverley's able to feed it in, and Rooney's there, and David Luiz heads behind. And the last time Brazil played at Wembley, they were behind in 32 seconds in the Olympic final against Mexico.
Good run, Jack Wilshere, nice and strong. Well played the referee for playing the advantage. Tom Cleverley has a little look. He sees Rooney, very close to finding him.
Wilshere is okay now, I'm glad to say. He was taken out by Dante, the Bayern Munich defender, making his Brazilian debut this evening. Gerrard with the corner. Just over the head of Rooney. It's a blustery night in North London, and the ball is going to swing about a little bit when it gets above head height. David Luiz here captaining Brazil this evening, not for the first time. And in goal, Julio Cesar of Queen's Park Rangers.
He's been outstanding, Clive, for QPR whenever I've seen him recently. He's made some wonderful saves, and it's a tough season for Harry Redknapp and his players, but the goalkeeper's trying his hardest at the moment to keep his team in with a fighting chance of survival, that's for sure.
So playing with basically 4 up. There's Oscar to his Chelsea teammate David Luiz, and here is Dante. He's very much a part of the team that's virtually wrapped up the German title already. Ramirez losing the ball under his feet. Dante towards Adriano of Brazil, but it's cut out of Barcelona, but it's cut out by Johnson, and here goes Theo Walcott. Quite had control of it, but it's there's a corner kick.
Yeah. Just a little loose pass, wasn't it, from Dante? Adriano there, pictured had just gone flying forward. That's something again that England's wide players this evening, Danny Welbeck to start with over on the left side, Theo Walcott down here on the right. Those fullbacks aren't shy in getting forward, they've got to make the use of the space they leave.
There's the head of Rooney, it's by Ramirez, Smalling trying to keep it alive, swayed by Dani Alves, up to Neymar, who had a muted Olympic gains for Brazil, but is an explosive player. YouTube fans will know all about his goal-scoring prowess. He's scored some beauties in the last couple of years, celebrated his 21st birthday just yesterday, but already 2.5 years Brazil international. David Luiz out to that right-hand side to Dani Alves, linking with Paulinho. It's a clever play, and Neymar has escaped. On by Ronaldinho. Neymar stretching to reach it, and Cahill just beating him to it. That's what they can do.
Yeah. Great close control, interchange of passes. Move across the ground so swiftly, don't they? Good tackle, Gary Cahill has to get that one right.
Real examination of the international calibre of Cahill and Smalling this evening. Ronaldinho takes, Neymar trying to flick it on, seen off by Glenn Johnson.
It's perfect for Ronaldinho, this Brazilian side in many ways, Clive, to see him come back into the side. Still so clever on the ball, and he's got lots of young players around him with plenty of energy. Neymar, Ramirez, you name it, they've all desperate to play and desperate to get involved, and it's lovely for him to be able to get on the ball and start getting his head up and finding these people.
It's his first cap for a year, he's 32 now, but he was the Brazilian Championship Player of the Year last season. He's finished second in the title race, and it's a bit of a renaissance, earned his recall. 33 next month. I don't know why I never moved to Blackburn 2 years ago. Going to regret that. Here's Oscar. Early forward, and Neymar has escaped. Got beyond Cahill, who did well to catch up. Neymar just unable to kill the ball. It was a lovely pass from Oscar.
Great spot, wasn't it? A little bit square there, Chris Smalling and Gary Cahill, just a bit flat-footed, and Neymar spins. Gets on the end of it. Good recovery pace once more from the Chelsea man.
Johnson trying to use the pace of Walcott. He can't quite reach that.
It's a good run. Excellent spot from Oscar. He's in. He just didn't get his first touch. Had he have got that first touch down, Gary Cahill would have found it difficult. Because that ball's in the air and he's watching it and he's waiting for it, it just gives Gary Cahill a chance to get back, just muscle him off the wall.
Every major club in Europe is being linked with Neymar, who has a contract till 2014 with his Brazilian club, Santos. Ashley Cole's header. It's followed rather dangerously for Dani Alves. This is Oscar. Towards Luis Fabiano, helped on its way by Cahill. There's a flag up against the Brazilian number 9. He's playing his club football back in Brazil too now with Sao Paulo. Roy Hodgson, the oldest man ever to take charge of England in an international match. 30 days older than Fabio Capello was when he last sat in that seat. 65 years young. Away from Paulinho, seized upon by Wilson. Now Welbeck, stopped by Dani Alves. Oscar has it. Looking for Luis Fabiano. Strong play though by Smalling. Alert keeping by Joe Hart.
Excellent play from Oscar once more. Good run, Luis Fabiano, but Joe Hart and Chris Smalling doing the job, just seeing the danger out. Whether it's short passes over 10, 15 yards, whether it's those 30-yard ones that they're trying to knock in behind the centre halves. You really do have to have your wits about you when you're playing against this team. Movement they have, so good. Appreciation of the pass to each other is always very accurate, very good.
Wilshire's taken on too much there. Johnson. Rooney. Gerrard waiting for a run from Cole. Poked back to Gerrard. In towards Theo Walcott. It came off the head of Adriano for an England corner.
Great spot against Steven Gerrard. It's one that Adriano would like to have maybe let it run out for a goal kick, but he's never sure. Theo Walcott's so quick and he's looking to try and get on the end of this. He has to put something on it.
Cahill hiding behind Smalling. Was the head of Rooney, and that's a really good save by Julio Cesar. Rooney's been penalised. Free kick has been given in Brazil's favour.
I think it was a little nudge actually from Wayne Rooney to just steal a yard in the box. It's a good spot, I think, from the official. You'll just see Rooney there, just hands in the middle of the back, but what a save. That's the agility that Julio Cesar has been showing all season. That's a fantastic fingertip. Even though the whistle had gone, he's not to know that. He knows he's got to make that save.
Conceded just once in 5 Premier League games since the turn of the year. His last cap was nearly 3 years ago. There's Fabiano turning into trouble. Playing a little bit further forward than maybe we expected, almost alongside Luis Fabiano, with Oscar on the right and Neymar on the left.
He'll just want to play a little bit further forward, Clive, in front of Paulinho and Ramirez, and just float around.
Walcott finding Johnson. Cleverly. Tagged by Dante. And by Adriano, and now some space for Neymar. It's 3 against 3 here momentarily, 4 against 3 with Oscar arriving. Neymar's got to pick the right option. He's found Oscar! He did have choices.
Well, excellent play from Adriano originally to knock that down the line for Neymar. He then runs and gets those white shirts running back towards their own goal. Could have gone one more there, Oscar. Could have gone out to Luis Fabiano. I think it's always very tempting to take that one. I don't blame him. He just leans back a little bit and gets over it. When they get in behind England's midfield, they're so dangerous. So good to watch, but so very dangerous.
Johnson is trying to poke it back, and Neymar is onside. Curl it, blocked by Cahill. Cleverly tidying up. Ramirez fed into Oscar. He's found Luis Fabiano. Paulinho just unable to join in. Still haven't played any true tournament football since going out in the quarterfinals of the Copa America, the South American Championships, in the summer of 2011. We'll play in and host the Confederations Cup this June. Italy, Spain, Uruguay in attendance, but every international they play, and they do play a lot, has a sense of occasion. They've no choice but to take them seriously. Paulinho. Welbeck getting back there to dispossess him. Hill needs to step up cleverly. White shirts in the box, Johnson in support of him. In by cleverly and punched by Julio Cesar.
Yeah, goalkeeper gets plenty on that. I wonder whether he could have actually called that. He wasn't under any immediate pressure from a white shirt.
To Cleverly. So, in fact, it is an England throw. Could have been you, all but crowned England manager in succession to Senor Eriksen in 2006. Unnerved by media attention. He was still coach in Portugal at the time. Really trying to get Walcott in. It'll come for Johnson. Cole. Welbeck combining with Cleverly. Cole is still forward. Now switching it well to Walcott. And Adriano was quickly upon him, also with a slightly challenge.
Powerful little fullback, isn't he, Adriano? Yeah, Walcott's not going to have it all his own way with this guy, just by thinking he's going to run in behind him. The service a couple of times to him so far hasn't been great, but he's very competitive, very powerful. And Walcott's going to have to work hard to get the better of him.
David Luiz has found Luis Fabiano, and now Neymar. Ronaldinho. Neymar. Neymar scoring a little test of concentration for the England defenders.
That's what it is, Clive. It's exactly what it is for those, particularly the central defenders, when they're going to step in and try and see somebody off, or when they're going to hold, and when they're going to maybe dip in behind the fullbacks, etc. When they're going to squeeze, or when they're going to sit a bit deeper. All of these things, all these issues being tested to the full against a team like Brazil, because of their movement, because of the way that they interchange positions so quickly.
Well, one by Cleverly. Gets it back from Cole and releases Welbeck. Gerrard slipped in towards Cleverley. Dante just shepherds the ball out of play for a goal kick.
Word from Danny Welbeck initially there. I think it just would have been nice to see him go towards the byline and try and just flash something across the 6-yard box.
Change for Neymar. No boost, didn't quite match the colour scheme of the shirts. No flag here for Luis Fabiano. It looked touch and go. And then they ran out of ideas. Ronaldinho though. Here's Oscar. Ronaldinho's cross charged down by Wilshire's given a penalty. Well, the ball's travelled maybe 3 metres. Jack Wilshire's arms were raised, and Pedro Proença, the Portuguese official, is just about at the top of his game at the moment, pointing straight to the spot.
Yeah, it does hit his hand. Yeah, he almost tries to pull it out of the way, doesn't he, in the end there? Tries to get it back out the way, but yeah, that's a loose arm, isn't it? As much as Roy Hodgson protests that, of course there's no intent, as we know that, from Jack Wilshere to deliberately try and block that, but that's the world we live in at the moment. Players going in to shut things down. If their arms are flailing and the ball hits it, invariably it's a penalty.
Joe Hart against Ronaldinho. Defeated England goalkeepers in the past. Good save! Another good save! Neymar! Sliding challenge comes in. England survive. Tom Cleverley to the rescue.
Great work, Joe Hart. Does so well to make the initial save, and then when it comes back to Ronaldinho, look how hard he's got to get up and work there to get a big hand on that. Tom Cleverley doing everything as well to deny Neymar. That's so difficult for a goalkeeper. That's what they work on day in, day out, to get back up on your feet and throw your arm in front of it.
So difficult, so brave to stick your hand there as one of the most famous boots in world football comes sliding in.
Good stop.
Well, it was a harsh penalty for me, an understandable one, but harsh. It was right on the borderline of intent. Maybe some kind of rough justice has been done, thanks to Joe Hart's agility. I wonder where David Seaman's watching tonight. Well, Joe Hart's got one back for you.
Did this surprise me with that penalty goal? I thought Ronaldinho would try and sit Joe Hart down, would maybe stagger his run or walk up to it or something else, dink it, clip it past him, whatever.
Loose from Gerrard. Paulinho. Wilshere getting among them. Dante's quite a bit bigger than Rooney.
Such a good stop, that really is. He almost dives beyond the ball. To get up and keep that out from there is just brilliant stuff from Joe Hart, that is. They do these drills day in, day out, these goalkeepers. You're watching them do it. And that's the very reason why. Get back on your feet, swivel your body around, get something in the way. Tom Cleverley does well there to be sharp, to deny Neymar.
I'll tell you what, the ref could have given another penalty there.
He could have done.
Cleverley came sliding in. It was a desperate challenge. It had to be in the circumstances. I don't think he got any of the ball. Ronaldinho, number 10, outfoxing another. And the England number 10 biting back. A bit of bite in that challenge from Oscar too on Cleverley. Rooney. Here's Wilshere, and he slipped it into the path of Danny Welbeck. Well, he tried to lift it, I think, because there were two bodies sliding in front of the goalkeeper. It was a difficult finish.
He went with his right foot, Clive. It's one maybe there that he'd been better off going with his left, I think. He's gone with his favoured right foot. Tries to just perhaps hit that a little bit earlier across Julio Cesar. Doesn't quite get it, does he? He's not in the right position, really, to make that shot with his right foot. But it's lovely play from England. Really good build-up, good football.
David Luiz, who's playing for the first time in 2 weeks. I don't know how delighted Chelsea will be to see him back in action. After missing a couple of games with a calf injury. Gerrard. Cole venturing forward, something we haven't really seen as yet. Crowd willing him to shoot. He's never scored for England. What a night it would be to break that duck.
I don't think Tom Cleverley actually gets anything on this. When it comes back, this is off the penalty, of course. See Tom Cleverley come flying in there. Look, he's miles behind Neymar. Whether he actually catches the player after he's already almost mishit that Neymar there. See it better from this angle. Stunning stop. Watch Tom Cleverley coming in there. Does he catch Neymar once more? I'm not sure if he actually catches him after he's already missed it. Strange one.
Challenge of the last ditch variety. It had to be made, had to take the risk. Rode their luck a bit there, but they survived a Ronaldinho penalty. Neymar, very mobile player. Ronaldinho. Adriano was there a moment ago. Tight, good play between Gerrard and Rooney. Now a little bit of space for Wilshere and options right and left. Danny Welbeck. Wilshere to Cleverley. Return ball has asked a lot of him. Danny Alves across, corner kick.
Once you come back, of course, again, Danny Welbeck got there with his left foot. I think he was right, actually, to turn back out. But when he turned back out, you give Brazil a chance to recover. It's just that final ball for England into the last third. If they can keep people on the move, as they did with Danny Welbeck's chance, that's when you can really stretch them.
Gerrard takes, so too does Julio Cesar. Smart work by Johnson. Combining with Walcott. Glenn Johnson.
He's good at that. He's good at stepping inside there and joining him with people and hitting it with his left foot. Scored plenty of times for Liverpool doing this, where he wanders in and then all of a sudden just decides to have a shot. It's a tough one, that one as well. It was just sat up a little bit, was trying to dip it.
And looking to assert themselves. Wilshere combining with Rooney. Feeds Theo Walcott. Good save by Julio Cesar. Rooney! England take the lead. Theo Walcott was denied. Wayne Rooney wasn't. England 1, Brazil 0. That doesn't sound too bad.
Excellent goal. Great finish from Wayne Rooney. Lovely control and composure about the slot. But this ball is absolutely inch perfect for Theo Walcott to use that pace against Adriano. And the follow-up from Rooney is terrific. He could quite easily have tried to hit that too hard. He controls it big side foot with a lot of pace on it. And it gives Julio César no chance, and anybody any chance to recover. Lovely goal.
Talking of recovering, Theo Walcott hasn't as yet. He's receiving a bit of treatment. He's moving a little better than he was 30 seconds ago. There's a smile on the face of Wayne Rooney again. 10 goals in his last 10 matches for Manchester United since the start of December. And now 33 goals for England. His tally grows. Already in 5th place in the overall list of England goal scorers, and now just 7 behind Michael Owen. Walcott is back with us. Wilshire's back on the ball. England looking good. Theo Walcott running at and past Dante, trying to play in Rooney. Across comes Adriano. Swashbuckling stuff from England.
Again, Jack Wilshere driving over the halfway line with the ball at his feet. Just like the goal, great slot out to Walcott. I just think he could have kept going. He's still suffering from that knock he took, Clive.
Cleverly trying to find Ashley Cole is offside, but there's a youthful exuberance about England going forward. 5 of the starting 11 are 23 or under. One of them, sadly, Theo Walcott, is again nursing an injury.
Great ball that is again from Wilshere. I just think Theo Walcott's got to keep going. I think you've got to commit David Luiz there, take him on. He's in full flow. Just nip him past him, an outstretched leg, can drag him down, whatever. He's trying to find Wayne Rooney, but I think there, go past the last man and have a go yourself.
Well, it's his 31st appearance for England this evening, Theo Walcott, and he's completed 90 minutes just once. As I said a little earlier, his 1-star under Roy Hodgson in October was ended prematurely in the opening 10 minutes against San Marino. He would so want to stay out there and really push his claims. It's almost as if the system has been tailored somewhat for him this evening. It's almost akin to the way Arsenal are playing at the moment.
Listen, he's been a different player this season. I think finally Theo Walcott really has matured and he's getting better. The more I see of him, he has a big effect for his team. His finishing's gone up a notch. Decision-making is better. I really hope he is able to carry on at full throttle.
Wayne Rooney's 27th minute goal after Joe Hart had saved a Ronaldinho penalty. And it's so far so good for England. Johnson has kept that in. Oscar has taken it off him. Throwing it through to Luis Fabiano. Blocked by Cahill. Here's Oscar. Paulinho. Ronaldinho. Ramirez to Adriano. Hounding work by Cleverly. Real edge and appetite about England. Oh, nipping away at Neymar. Just wouldn't let him settle on it. Too long from David Luiz. Ball has gone out.
Seen some good stuff from Jack Wilshere already. Quite impressed with his performance so far. The time he gets beyond Paulinho or Ramirez, who is sitting that little bit deeper for Brazil. Good pass selection.
It is only his 7th cap, with easy to forget. Half an hour's international football in 20 months prior to tonight. His combinations with Gerrard are something that England have been waiting to see. Oscar seeking out Dani Alves, who's been quite muted on that side so far. Very well back, forcing him back now. Shown too much of that to David Luiz, who's shown too much of that to Gerrard. Now cleverly. Here's Johnson. Oscar got back there to halt him. Get the decision.
Yeah, good work from Oscar, actually, sprinting back. Just a little bit short.
Gerrard. He's playing in Johnson here. Trying to get round Adriano. Across comes Dante on the cover. Got back though by Cahill. Here's Wilshere. Rooney to Wilshere, trying to poke it up towards Welbeck. David Luiz does that well, anticipating it. Welbeck felt that there was a swinging arm in the midst of all that.
He also felt David Luiz stepped across him, really, and just he had possession of the ball. Look at David Luiz, you can see there, he just steps into Danny Welbeck just to check him, just to prevent him from making any sort of challenge. He may have a point. Luiz had a good possession of the ball, he just could have kept going.
Dante. Paulinho. Ramirez. Alves. Oscar check, and Rooney was able to seize upon it, and here's cleverly. Now Walcott's on his way again, and he's got help if he needs it. It's Theo Walcott, runs straight into David Luiz.
Outside. Perfect there, it was set up for Theo Walcott. Go on the outside of Dante. Get your shot away with your right foot.
Oscar trying to get past his club mate Ashley Cole. No way. Gerrard to Walcott. Getting isolated here with Adriano. He can get a run at him.
What England have done well, Danny Welbeck's also done it on the other side to Dani Alves. They're tracking those fullbacks back, and then they're countering them very, very quickly with the pace they have.
ITV's live coverage of the Champions League resumes next week, and we've got a cracker to start with next Tuesday from 7:30. We're in Glasgow for Celtic against Juventus. That's 7:30 on ITV and ITV HD next Tuesday night. Interesting to see Wayne Rooney as the main England striker tonight, right up there, almost on his own. He's getting good support from midfield, but he's the spearhead striker tonight.
He can do that, Clive. We also know he can drop in and play with midfield players. He's such a good all-round footballer. It's not a problem to him to lead the line. He was very productive for United, wasn't he, a couple of years ago when he was doing that? So that's not an issue, I don't think. Rooney can do both.
Hodgson, who was rather categorised as a 4-4-2 coach when he took the job, has certainly shown some variety and adaptability in his approaches to different internationals, and this is a different look about England again this evening. Fluent look so far. Johnson to Cleverly. Lifted it towards Wayne Rooney. Welbeck tried to take over. David Luiz sorted it out.
David Luiz, one as well. Wayne Rooney was just about to hit that on the volley. I think Roy Hodgson's right to have a look at these different formations, Clive. I don't think you can go out to South America, should England qualify and play 4-4-2 and hope to prosper. I think they've got to have the extra man in the middle of the park. They've got to be a little bit more flexible.
A bit warmer there than it is here tonight.
Brazil throw that. Certainly did go out, but It's Tom Cleverley that made the interception.
Cole just mistiming the header. Oscar has escaped him. It was a great ball in, and Neymar had a terrific chance to equalise. Cross came with a little bit of pace, and Neymar just couldn't quite control the finish. Wicked ball in.
What a delivery that is from Oscar. Brilliant strength on the far side to get away from Ashley Cole, and that delivery is inch perfect, and Neymar has to score that. Just put your studs on that. He's almost gone with his side foot, bottom of your boot, and you knock that straight in the back of the net. Been impressed with Oscar, Clive, so far this evening. I think he's played really well for Brazil. Defensive work, getting back. Also there, showing such great pace and energy to get away from Ashley Cole. That's a poor finish for him.
Started the last half dozen games at Chelsea after a spell when he was in and out following Rafa Benitez's arrival at the club. Some people feel that he's been a bit compromised playing from wide positions for his club, but clearly the Brazilians see him as somebody who can play from the flanks. And Ashley Cole will have plenty to discuss at the weekend. Numbers game of tactical formations. England are 4-1-2-3 tonight. Roy Hodgson's really pushed Walcott, Rooney and Welbeck up the field. Goal against Oscar again. By Cahill. Ramirez. Adriano to Oscar. It's found a cross between Cole's legs. Paulinho has helped it on, header away by Johnson. Volleyed clear by Cleverley. England unhinged there.
Yep, good work though, Glenn Johnson, making sure he's in behind the goalkeeper. Nice and alert, good inventive play from Brazil once more down that side. Oscar again starting that.
Ronaldinho. Headed this time by Smalling. Here's Oscar once more. Trying to pull it back to Neymar. Gerrard intervened. Good with and without the ball. Towards Luis Fabiano. Challenges by Smalling. Here comes Joe Hart. Sure that Johnson necessarily wanted that. He has got a free kick.
It's a bit tight, wasn't it? Well, in the end, to get himself a free kick there, Glenn Johnson. Clever little hook over his head, wasn't it, there, from Luis Fabiano, and Glenn Johnson doing really well.
Confidence to pass the ball even inside their own half. Behind you. It's fallen for Wilshere. Now Rooney. Beautifully struck. Julio Cesar had the post covered, but it was a rasper from Wayne Rooney.
Sweet strike, wasn't it? Once again, Jack Wilshere driving into the space. Every time there's been a little pocket of room for him to get going, he's done exactly that. He's brought yellow shirts under the ball, and that's why it drops to Rooney. Hits it hard, and goalkeeper scampers across the near to cover it.
Rooney getting hold of it again. Wilshere to Cleverley. Handed by Dani Alves, fouled.
He's done that well, actually, Wayne Rooney. Clive, I think he's, again, when he's been the last man, the top man, the man to stretch Dante and David Luiz, he's done that, but also he drops in, as he likes to do, and link up with those midfield players, and it's that variety which gives people opportunities. It gives the likes of Tom Cleverley or Jack Wilshere a chance to maybe run in behind.
So they're trying to play their way out of trouble, giving it back to England. Playing in quite a controlled role tonight. I'm not going to see the England skipper get forward very much.
He's just trying to make sure he's always available, and that he's denying that space in front of Chris Smalling and Gary Cahill. He's not allowing Brazil a chance to start picking their passes in that area. He's quite right to do that.
It's a good challenge from Welbeck. Just to nick it away from Paulinho. Now for Theo Walcott. Goes for goal. Beaten away by Julio Cesar. Johnson into Welbeck, trying to spin away from David Luiz. Never quite dragged it with him. And England again getting it back.
Once again on the counter, looking really dangerous. As they turn Brazil round, then they look vulnerable. England's pace is frightening at times with Welbeck and Walcott, so quick and so direct.
Here's Luis Fabiano. Ronaldinho. Starts a little bit too much of his main striker.
I think that's the one area of the Brazilian team, actually. I think Ronaldinho and Neymar and Luis Fabiano are a little bit showboaty at times. This is that chance again. It's Theo Walcott's in top gear. You're not going to catch him that time. Although it's a tight angle, he's done exactly the right thing. Just hit it hard and get it on target, make the goalkeeper make a save, which he does.
Looks like scoring this season. Only 18 goals for Arsenal.
Yep.
Every one that goes in just swells his confidence with the next finish. Gerrard. Here's Walcott again. Cleverley. It's the one added minute. Good mixture of purpose and patience, though, about England's approach. They're quite happy to keep possession at times, but they have forced the issue when they've had the opportunity.
I think it's perfect for them. They've got their goal in front, and they can sit back on top of that back four a little bit. Walcott and Welbeck have done that well. And then when they get the chance to spring and go for it, they've looked very dangerous. They've played very well in this opening 45 minutes. It's been a good game, good test.
Paulinho. Dani Alves. England have scored in all but one of the games over which Roy Hodgson has seen them through these opening months of his management. Wayne Rooney scored their goal this evening after Joe Hart had managed to deny Ronaldinho from the penalty spot. Len Johnson has had to make a goal line clearance too. Brazil carry a threat, but so do England. And they lead at half-time. We'll be hearing from Gareth, from Lee and from Roy in just a moment, so stay with us. England 1, Brazil 0. England versus Brazil. It doesn't happen every year. Given a penalty. Good save! England survive! Theo Walcott! Good save by Julian Cesar. It's a great ball in and Neymar.
Well, after a nervy old start, Roy, it's all turning out rather nicely.
No, England have done well. They've recovered. First 20 minutes, I think they were probably playing too much respect to Brazil. But once they got the goal, and obviously they rode their luck a little bit with the penalties, defending the penalty. But after that, they seemed to grow in confidence and look very dangerous on the break. And Brazil, their defenders particularly don't obviously like the pace of the England attacking players.
Let's have a look at the aforesaid penalty then. I'm a bit sick of seeing these handball decisions this season. There seem to have been a lot of them.
Well, it is, and it's all about the distance for the ball for me. He's, 3 or 4 yards? I think if that goes against you as an attacking player, you want a penalty. If you're a defender, Jack Wilshere, midfield player, I think it could be given either way. I think it's a penalty myself, and this is absolutely fabulous. The second save, the first save's good enough, Gareth, but that second save with his right hand.
Brilliant. The speed of reaction to get up. I'm not quite sure what Neymar does there. I don't know if he's frightened of Cleverley's challenge because Cleverley doesn't come in, but you see the speed and the strength in Joe Hart's hand there to keep that second save out. And then Neymar shanks it, which I don't think we'll be saying that too often over the next 20 years, but brilliant, deserved to keep it out.
That was in a period of the game where Brazil were dominant. The first 20 minutes, as Roy said, they were a bit nervy, England, and if they'd have lost the goal then, but I think that's given them an impetus to get forward and play their stuff, and they played really well in the second half of that.
And there was an encouraging level of industry which led to England's goal, wasn't there? A lot of chasing back in the shape of Welbeck.
Well, this is why I've always liked Danny Welbeck. I know he was having the poor first 15 or 20 minutes, but we see his work right there. I think it's a goal kick from Cesar. Again, like all good strikers, not giving it up and being the best defender. No, still a lot to do here. Wilshere, clever play. Again, playing the 1-2. And again, the pace of the pass, the run. Excellent save. And Rooney, who's been in good form the last few weeks, like all good strikers, following the ball into the box.
This is the space you're on about, Roy, isn't it? That he drives into. Welbeck probably would have been in the middle of the pitch if he hadn't chased back. But what it does, ironically, it releases the space for Walcott to run into. Wilshere does great, and this is a brilliant ball. And once Walcott's on his bike there, fabulous finish as well from Rooney.
I think it's been great to see the likes of Cleverley, Wilshere, prepared to get on the ball, brave enough to play against a Brazilian side. In the past, maybe we haven't kept possession enough against Brazil, and then the pace of Walcott, Rooney's clever movement coming shorter. We've been difficult to mark, and that's not always the case with English teams.
Steve Gerrard has been saying we don't want to put pressure on Wilshere, and then he's gone on to say he's going to be incredible, but we don't want to do any more to hasten that process. But he is looking good, isn't he?
He's doing well. Again, considering he's missed a lot of football over the last year or two, he's got up to the pace of the game tonight, and again, he's got that knack of just gliding past people. We spoke about Gaza before the game. He used to be able to do that. And Wilshere, again, his potential tonight, he looks fantastic.
This is England, so let's have a little worry, shall we? The few defensive frailties.
Well, I think it's great movement. You see Neymar makes a couple of runs away to come short and get the ball, and then the 1-2 is fabulous. I mean, we're marvelling this at the start, and then actually Wilshere went and did the same thing at the other end, in fairness. But again, he keeps his run going, plays it inside, keeps going, and it's good attacking play and decent cover from Gary Cahill. This one, Lee, we were wondering how on earth Neymar gets in.
We've got possession here. The two centre-backs are 2v2. They're standing off. Now we're losing possession. Neymar just makes a run. You've got to react quicker than that. He's got plenty of time on the ball. You know that ball's coming over the top. You've got to drop off. In the end, Cahill does brilliantly to get back. But that was the first 20 minutes when they were a little bit nervy, and I think the yellow shirts made a difference. They were looking at them saying, this is Brazil, and we're a little bit tentative. All of a sudden, they're now imposing themselves and doing really well.
But hey, we would certainly settle for 1-0 to England. What a great half-time score that is. They harried, they tried, they worked their socks off on a very cold night. Walcott great, Wilshere great. And Neymar did say we were a one-man team. Rooney did score. It's all looking very good. Second half coming up shortly. It is going to be just great, as will the second half here. We hope England beating Brazil 1-0. Brazil will have something to say about that for sure. Let's have a look at Neymar, though. World superstar in the making. And, well, this was rubbish, wasn't it, at the back stick, Gareth?
He's not very good, is he?
We're building a run of Neymar is hopeless, aren't we, really? But, no, I mean, they could comfortably be level. There's no question about that. The chances they've had with the penalty and with this one, I mean, it's... it isn't straightforward because he's having to slide in it and it's bouncing, but you would expect him to score a player of his talent. But
I think it's a bobble myself.
Another reminder of the danger that they pose.
I think we can expect Brazil to come out fighting now, can't we?
You would have thought so. Again, they play with a lot of pride. They've got some good options on the bench. Obviously, we might see Hull coming on. But we've seen in the first half, even though Brazil still not really at their sharpest, but creating 2 or 3 clear-cut chances. No, don't be writing Brazil off.
Roy Hodgson's got a bit of a problem now because the game in Sweden, I mean, we see Baines for Cole, Lampard, we believe, for Cleverley. In Sweden, before Christmas, we were on the verge of a good result. He made a load of changes and we ended up losing the game. Now, he's in a great position here. What would be a really good morale-boosting win. He won't want to change too much, but then he's already said he's going to rest some of those players.
I think we're led to believe that Sir Alex has had a word with Roy Hodgson and said, look, a couple of big games coming up for us, don't play the whole game.
I think Alex works on his boards with all the managers at international level, says, don't get my lads on for 90 minutes type of thing. But, yeah, I think Cleverley might have an injury, but you wouldn't have thought Wayne Rooney would be on for the 90 minutes, or Danny Welbeck. And Roy Hodgson has to be fair to the club. It is a friendly match, and Man United have some big games coming up.
All right, but on the other hand, does it operate in reverse? Before England go to San Marino and Montenegro, will Roy Hodgson be ringing Sir Alex and somebody's going to take it easy, will you?
It completely doesn't work the other way around. In fact, the Premier League managers have the say, and I'm sure there has been some, because it's a friendly. And the fact is, all the subs on the bench want to get on because they're playing Brazil at Wembley. You want to get on, you want to play and say, I played against Brazil, but you want to win the game.
Let's go back to our commentary team. Andy Townsend and Clive Tilsley.
All change. 3 substitutes being used by Brazil, half-time 2 by England. Number 16 is Aroca of Santos. He'll be followed by number 18, Lucas Moura of Paris Saint-Germain. And also on change up front, number 19, Fred, who is now back in Brazil with Fluminense is taking over from Luis Fabiano up front. Scolari only met up with the squad for the first time on Monday, flew over with Neymar and the other Brazilian base players, but most of his squad is European-based. England kick off with Leighton Baines, who's actually played more international football than Ashley Cole this season. At left back, and a straight swap in the heart of the midfield with Lampard winning his 94th England cap. Now in place of Tom Cleverley.
Well, lots of changes at half-time. They can, or it can, change the dynamics of some of these friendly internationals. Let's hope that's not the case here, because I think we all enjoyed the first half.
Gerrard got it back from rather wayward pass from Aroca. Gerrard invited to shoot, and it's a good one, and almost an opportunity for Jack Wilshere closing in on the rebound. It was a little bit too hot for Julio Cesar to handle.
It's an awkward one, that. Actually, Julio Cesar does well in the end. It's a decent strike from Gerrard, bounces in front of him, and Jack Wilshere has actually done everything right. He's running towards the goalkeeper, he's just parried it back the way. Just there, it goes in the other direction, and Jack Wilshere struggles to just stab it home.
Johnson. Just attacked there legally by Paulinho. Gareth mentioned at half-time England were leading 2-1 in Stockholm with 15 minutes to go. Finished up losing 4-2 to Ibrahimovic's heroics.
I think the England manager will also be mindful of the fact now that his team have played well for certainly the last 30 minutes of that first half. And it's a great scalp to have, Clive. It's a great game to win this one. They're in a good position right now.
We're on by Lucas Moura. Johnson a bit hemmed in here, but again, England players showing more and more confidence on the ball. Cahill's shown a bit too much in actual fact. And here's a chance for Fred! And Brazil are on terms, and Gary Cahill took a chance too many. And Fred, who's only just arrived on the field, pounces upon Cahill's error. And Roy Hodgson's team have lost their lead.
He knows that, Gary Cahill. Can't do that. Not when you're in this sort of company. You give the ball away there 30 yards from goal and you're in big trouble. He's overrun it. He's not really sure where he's going. They don't really narrow down quick enough either. They've got men over, so it's a very difficult one for Chris Smalling and everyone else back there. And in the end, Fred just takes a touch and dispatches it so accurately. Joe Hart, who's been banging form this evening, can't get anywhere near it.
Federico Chavez Guedes, or Fred to you and me. Those of you who follow European football remember him from his years at Lyon, where he was very successful. And he's back in Brazil with the champions Fluminense. And he's made Gary Cahill pay for an error. We've just made another one now. Oscar, it's Fred again. And this time he bounces it off the crossbar. Where's he come from?
Look, Wayne Rooney's running back towards that back four. I don't blame him, because they've worked so hard in the opening 45 minutes and they're throwing it away here. Sloppy from Cahill, once again from Smalling. And Fred off his right side, this time very nearly curls that in the top corner.
Eight goals in 20 internationals, Fred.
Now those guys have got to compose themselves now. They've got to get together. Just get back to basics for the next 5 minutes. Just make sure they're nice and tight, they're together, they're communicating. Just get it and give it to those in front of them that can play.
Yeah, this is the real test, isn't it? When you know you've made errors,
yeah.
When you know they've been costly, steadying yourself. David Luiz with a header. Neymar trying to protect, he hasn't really done so. Welbeck pouncing on the ball. Won by Gerrard, then by Adriano, and then by Oscar. Thumped away by Paulinho. He's a muscular type, backing into Smalling. England are back on the ball. Lampard. And there was snow on it tonight. Oscar. And towards Lucas. Now Fred again. Wilshere gets to him. Lampard now caught in possession inside his own half. It's catching.
Excellent start to the second half from the visitors. They've been on the front foot, got themselves back in the game.
Searching ball from David Luiz, well dealt with by Glenn Johnson. Just need to take a time out here, clear the heads. Forced to clear with his left foot. Edgy back there. to Aroka. It's well won by Danny Welbeck, just couldn't quite keep it in.
That's the best way for England to recover, Clive. Get it up to Rooney, get it out to Welbeck and Walcott. Let those midfield players join in and start turning Brazil around once more.
Better passing from Cahill. Welbeck.
Initial part of what Gary Cahill did was okay. He won the ball and he drove into the space. He's looking to pass it, but he just cannot afford to make the wrong decision when in possession of the ball there.
Particularly when there's a centre-back debate going on. Phil Jagielka and Jolyon Lescott are the other two in the squad here. Phil Jones is currently out of action with shingles.
I think it's
Michael
the one
Dawson's back in the Tottenham team. Obviously, there is still a lot of talk about Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah, I think it's the area in the team that will give the manager the most cause for concern, maybe selection dilemma.
Here's Wilshere. Oscar trying to get Neymar free. Clever change of direction. Oscar's free all of a sudden. Cahill got to him, important challenge.
That's better. Important challenge, well timed. Wasn't the greatest ball actually from Neymar to Oscar again, who made a fantastic overlapping run.
Adventurous run, Aroka crossing the corner.
Been so impressed with Leighton Baines for his club this season. I know he's great with his dead balls and delivery and shooting ability, but he's been so positive when he's got the ball for his club, and good to see him going for it again there. Never easy sometimes coming into these games.
Boy, would he like to score. Gerrard takes. Oh, and needed a save. And it very nearly was redemption for Gary Cahill.
It certainly was. Just watching the way David Luiz was marking Gary Cahill, he was just looking at him, wasn't even looking at the ball. And no big surprise that Gary Cahill loses him. Look, he's all over him, he's trying to grab him, prevent him. He's just not watching the ball. In fact, it comes off his shoulder. If he flushes it with his forehead, he probably scores.
Gerrard again. Julio Cesar away. Wilshere back to Gerrard. Dani Alves clears. Brazilians going for the same ball, but Dani Alves is not going to shoe in at right back for Barcelona this season. Gets it back and shows what he can do. Oscar, clever ball, Neymar on the run. Johnson went every stride with him.
Such a great play from Dani Alves there, Clive. He did really well to skip past Danny Welbeck and then fire that ball into Oscar, who was just in behind Lampard and Gerrard. And Johnson does well to just chaperone Neymar back.
He got started since the break. Brazilian equaliser. Just knocked them back. Johnson, though. Taken out pretty comfortably by Adriano. Rooney. Lampard. Good space here for Wilshere. Advantage play. Now Theo Walcott. Oh, it's tripping against the arms of Adriano. Walcott again. He's beaten his man this time. Can he pick a cross? It's a good one. Oh, he almost came for Lampard. Rooney, though, setting up. Gerrard!
Love that from Theo Walcott. Top wide play that is. Just nips it past Adriano and then just puts his foot to the floor and bursts past him, and then you've got a decision to make. Are you going to stand it up or fire it across that 6-yard box? He goes for the latter. Good work again from Julio César. Gerrard just doesn't get over the shot.
He had half a dozen games at the point of the Arsenal attack over the sort of Christmas period and into mid-January, but he's been back on the right recently. Olivier Giroud has been scoring some goals for Arsenal, but he's still been scoring goals from the wide positions.
He has. He's looked very dangerous out there, Clive. Really good lately. I think he's accepted the responsibility now. Can't just be a every now and again player. Or will he won't. He's got to be someone who's responsible, that when he gets out there, he's going to produce. He has been, to his credit.
Milner being ready. Walcott back on the ball. And again beats Adriano. This time Dante cuts out the cross.
Lucky, maybe mix.
Rooney's got it back. Lampard! England back in front. Frank Lampard has got the goal. Brazil's turn to have a defensive error punished, and how it was punished as accurate.
About Ronaldinho and Oscar and everybody else, but he doesn't do anything with that, does he? He just controls that. Hasn't really got the time to get it out from under his feet. He's just got to adapt, and he does it so well, so beautifully and so accurately. And the goalkeeper Julio César has been terrific once more tonight. Can't get near it.
His 27th England goal takes him level with David Platt and one ahead of Brian Robson in the England goal-scoring list.
Yeah, he is a machine when it comes to goals, Frank Lampard, let me tell you.
It's just outside the top 10 on that all-time list now. But here's a problem. Adriano has got forward for Brazil. A lovely cutting ball, but he just couldn't quite make the most of it. Cover was good. England managed to get back there.
Theo Walcott does well. Watch him match Adriano, top of your screen. He knows he's given him 2 yards, and now he's really got to get back, but he just about does enough to force him wide. That's good play. Really good work.
James Milner for Danny Welbeck for England, and number 17, Jean, is on for Paulinho in the Brazilian midfield. He's only his second cap. He's only got 20-odd minutes of international football to his name. Jean of the Brazilian champions Fluminense. Danny Welbeck doesn't appear to have an injury. Manchester United don't play until Sunday in the Premier League against Everton. They're in Madrid next week in the Champions League. Gerrard to Walcott, who can't get enough of the ball. He's skinning Adriano. And Barcelona man got back. Goal kick's been given.
Just bundled him a little bit. He just perhaps fractionally overhit that one, but intent is there once more. There's not a lot Adriano can do about it at the minute. Much better. Just take it, get it up, walk it up to him, and then just knock it behind him and go.
Adriano doesn't get the ball there. He's having a good season for Barcelona. England's really put Dani Alves under pressure. Oscar to Sheyan. Too much disguise on that pass. Wouldn't have given it away a bit though. Thanks. By Lucas. Roca. Dante. Towards Neymar. Johnson got caught out a little bit there. Ball pulled back for Sheyan.
Good touch back from Neymar. This was that run earlier, Clive, Theo Walcott, when he was bursting past Adriano. Did he get bundled to the floor? He was always struggling to get there. Just has a little nibble. It's not enough for a penalty for me, not that time.
Walcott was never going to quite be able to provide a control cross that time. Now a bit of a cul-de-sac. Doing his foul, David Luiz. Roca. David Luiz. Lucas to Dante. Oscar can't keep it in. It's come up 4 years this weekend since he left Chelsea. Phil Scolari, since then he's coached in Uzbekistan and Brazil. Palmeiras of Sao Paulo sacked him in September, and the Brazilian Federation hired him in November. And I hope that he can turn the clock back to 2002, and he did have Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Cafu and Roberto Carlos to call upon, as well as Ronaldinho. Here's Dani Alves. He's in for Joe Hart.
Trying to find Lucas Moura there. Dani Alves always overhit that one a little bit.
To Gerrard. He's pretty ambitious pass, trying to make the most of that little bit of psychological edge that you feel Walcott's got over Adriano at the moment.
Didn't need to go there. Maybe could have just gone out to Glenn Johnson there, Stephen Gerrard, and then let Glenn Johnson just feed Walcott.
Luiz, it's a good ball that for Oscar. Neymar. Straight at Hart. Really light up the Olympic Games, and he hasn't really lit this night up as yet. Neymar.
You can see that technically he's very gifted and good close control and good awareness. We saw a bit of that in the first half. He should have scored. We know that, but he's got to do a little bit more for his team now to get them back in it. They'll be looking for him. They'll be looking to him to produce something special. He comes with a big reputation for a young man.
He scored 8 goals in his last 6 internationals.
It's a heavy shirt when you're wearing a Brazilian one and you're a striker.
Oscar's down the middle at the moment. Almost brought that under control. He rather got the wrong side of him there. England took the lead through Wayne Rooney midway way through the first half. Fred equalised early in this second half for Brazil, but Frank Lampard restored the advantage on the hour. A game in which Ronaldinho had a penalty saved by Hart, 0-0. The run is by Neymar. Tries to force it back to Fred. Here's Neymar again. He wouldn't put it past him.
A Fred kick from outside the 18-yard box is ambitious, to say the least. A good run. And Johnson does the right thing. He tracks that run. Just does enough again to deny it.
I don't think Joe Hart will particularly want to be beaten by another acrobatic volley just yet. Number 13 is Felipe Luis, the Atletico Madrid left back. Rooney. Stopped by David Luiz. Lampard though to Baines. It's a really good cross. Walcott couldn't quite catch up with it. Fabulous ball in by Leighton Baines.
Perfect delivery, wasn't it? Awkward because it's bouncing along the floor. Goalkeeper doesn't know whether or not Dante's going to put something on that or not, so he's not sure whether to come for it. Walcott just can't quite get across the front of the defender to just get a touch on it, but such an awkward delivery.
Straight swap at left back, where Adriano was having some problems with Walcott. Now Felipe Luis of Atletico Madrid, who are going so well in Spain, comes on for his second cap, over 3 years after his first. If England were playing the World Cup qualifier next week, who would your left back be, Andy?
Ashley Cole. And I think Leighton Baines has played terrific for his club this season. He's certainly pushing him very, very hard. Right now, Ashley Cole's still the man to beat.
Brazil's left back's out of position here, and Walcott's on the charge. Caught in two minds. Rooney. James Milner couldn't quite grow enough.
Unlucky that time. The run from Theo Walcott just run into a little bit of a brick wall there, didn't he?
I think Rooney was just loitering slightly offside too, which was maybe a distraction for Walcott. Nearly 87,500 inside Wembley. Still an enduring attraction. '56, 1984, 1990. England's 3 victories over Brazil. So another one to add to the list. 20 minutes away. Oscar. Work by Rooney, has actually bundled Shan to the ground, but it was a good, hungry piece of forward play by Wayne Rooney. Neymar trying to get Dani Alves in behind Milner. What a kick.
Good work, James Milner. Made sure that he tracked that run from Dani Alves.
Corner by Gerrard. 2 centre-backs are still in there. Again, halting Neymar. Alves with the cross this time. Taken away. Rooney towards Milner. Wilshere. Luiz across, in throw.
Good run again, Jack Wilshere ahead of the ball. He's always aware that David Luiz is going to commit to that challenge. Happy to just let him put it out, get the team higher up the pitch, give the back four a little bit of a breather.
Here's Milner. Rooney and Milner. Lampard couldn't quite catch up. It was good, incisive attacking play from England again.
Lovely combination work, Rooney and Milner. Frank Lampard actually was trying to catch up. He was hovering around that penalty spot.
Rooney let it run. Gerrard profits. Lifted into Lampard. He was aware that Walcott was in space. Lampard again. Even Theo Walcott will quite catch that. Plenty of football going on around the world tonight. Holland, Italy, France, Germany playing in big friendly internationals. All of the home nations in action. Northern Ireland's game is over in Malta. These are 7:45 kickoffs, and Republic of Ireland, Scotland and Wales all leading. Gordon Strachan's first game in charge of Scotland against Estonia, and Wales 2 up against the Austrians. England 2-1 up here. Rooney's obviously in an offside position.
It's important this last 15 minutes plus stoppage, whatever. Important now that England concentrate and they keep a good shape. This is why you play these matches against the best. This is why you test yourselves. They've worked hard to get in front, then they slop in, all of a sudden they're back level pegging, but they've got back in front now. This is where nights like this really come into their own in terms of preparing for a major competition. Going against the top side, good in possession. Now you've got to keep your shape and keep them out.
Oscar trying to use the various runs around him with decoys. Aaron Lennon coming off for Theo Walcott.
Coming off the field, number 7.
Interesting to me, Andy, that amid all the changes, Roy Hodgson has left Gary Cahill and Chris Smalling out there.
Yep.
Almost to say to them, right, you had a difficult start in the second half, you sorted it out.
Yep.
International level, showed me you're good enough.
Yep. You've had a blip, get together, sort it out and get going again. That's exactly what they've done. Theo Walcott's played very well, looked dangerous again, didn't he, tonight? He gets going, he's difficult to handle, difficult to stop at the moment. Good night's work for him, I think.
Do you think Rio Ferdinand's playing well enough to justify recall?
That's a difficult question, Clive. I'm not sure, really. I mean, Rio Ferdinand's still playing well enough. Is Rio Ferdinand sure about where he's going to be playing his football next season? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Is that an issue? Maybe.
One or two senior players like Gareth Barry and Scott Parker now back in action with Spurs. And I don't know whether it's a question of how many players of that vintage Roy Hodgson wants in and around his squad.
Does come a point, Clive, where you have to keep moving forward and you have to believe that the direction you're travelling in is the right one. Rio is still a very capable player, of course he is.
He's answered a call to freshen up the squad, intensify competition for places, maybe cast the net a little wider. Proof is in the pudding. That's a poor header from Smalling by Fred.
On his right foot as well there, Fred. I mean, he showed me that shot that bounced off the top of the crossbar. He's not afraid with that foot, but stronger on his left.
Here goes Lennon. As quick as Walcott, I think. Dante's no slouch.
Just always a bit overhit, wasn't it, from Frank Lampard to Aaron Lennon.
Lennon played most of the San Marino game here in October when he came on for Walcott, who was injured early on. He'd been out of favour since the World Cup up to that point. Actually started the first 2 games at the last World Cup for England, Aaron Lennon. other options for Roy Hodgson. You think that Jones is unfit, Young is unfit, Gibbs, Richards, Kelly, the two slightly forgotten names still in the mix. Andy Carroll's back in action. David Beckham will be playing again soon. So Julio Cesar takes over the captaincy. There's David Luiz, who has certainly tested out his injured calf here this evening. Gives way to another Atletico Madrid defender, Miranda. Not Hart. No relation. Dante. Felipe Luis. Jean. Neymar. Rusher after him. Breathing down his neck. Lucas. Neymar. Lucas Moura trying to get there, but Hart's in control.
Good defensive shape there from England. Ball goes into Neymar. Sometimes defenders can just drop off and just go to sleep, and people can walk in behind them, but not there. Good work from Leighton Baines.
Neymar. Won by Fred. Oscar's offside here. If he touches it, he is.
Run a little bit too flat, hasn't he? Too quick. He's very, very tight. Very tight, that is.
Brazil are back in this country in next month, actually. They play a friendly against Russia at Stamford Bridge on the 25th of March, a game which you can see on ITV4. Part of the ethic, really, Brazilian footballers to keep playing. The domestic season runs for most of the year, playing in their regional leagues now, having finished the national championship at the turn of the year. The leading sides have started their equivalent of the Champions League, the Libertadores Cup. The Brazilian Federation are always off around the world trying to make money, cash in on the reputation and name. Plays like this one, Neymar. It's straight to Baines. Dante. Oscar. Jean. Oroka. Yes. Dani Alves. Lucas. Keeping their shape, keeping their discipline, keeping their lead. Here comes Felipe Luis. That's a great ball from Miranda. Rooney. Gerrard. Just caressed into the path of Baines. Milner. Pretty sharp challenge that by Dani Alves. It's been penalised. Johnson. Trying to get Lennon in.
Lucky there. Just not enough room there to knock that one in behind Felipe Luis for Aaron Lennon. I think the manager just wants the tempo just kept up, just wants a little bit more purpose to England's play. Difficult because you've got the lead. You don't want to go flying forward and get caught on the counter. It's always that sort of time in a game when you're in the last sort of 10-minute bracket. you've got something to hang on to, and naturally you tend to sit behind the ball and you're not quite so keen to get forward. And it does invite the opposition on a little bit.
Dani Alves. Up to Oscar. Laid it off to Lucas. And here's Fred. He just stumbled on the ball with his first touch and then was never steady for a shot at goal.
Just couldn't get it out, could he, from underneath his feet. Love that little interplay there. Wonderful stuff that is. And then when it arrives on, he's got the right side for him to hit it on his left foot. He just stumbles and just gets it caught under his feet, then slips, and opportunity lost.
It's not a great name for a hearty commentator's roar as the ball flies into the net, is it? Fred.
He can finish though.
Call himself Romario. Yeah, better.
Even if you put an O on the end of it, it would be a star, wouldn't it?
We've got Hulk on the bench too. Lucas. There's Rooney. Milner. It's a Brazil throw. Sign of a big finish from Brazil, famous last words, but England are keeping up the energy.
Made lots of changes as well, Clive, haven't they, Brazil? Does disrupt things somewhat.
Chase. Corner given. Go forward again. Short for Baines. Milner. Milner's going to have to move to kick that in, I think. He's preventing the goal kick.
As well there, James Milner. Put that out for a throw in. Obviously, without the pace of Danny Welbeck down that side, it's a slightly different setup for England now. And it's great to have in your team in terms of working back and making sure that he tracks with Dani Alves. He's so honest in that respect.
Rooney. Just backing in. It's a bit dangerous from Dani Alves. Just slipping, but here's Johnson. Now Wilshere. And here's Lampard. Milner. Baines is on the way. Milner crosses himself and crosses poorly. Oscar's done as well as anybody for Brazil.
Terrific.
Good ball for Neymar. Oh, he's got the better here of Cahill in towards Fred. Away by Smalling.
Well done, Chris Smalling. Himself across the front there of Fred and made sure they intercepted that. Good run from Neymar. Very quick.
Felipe Luis with a bit of time to pick across in towards Fred. There was a bit of shirt pull in there by Smalling. Andy, time for you to nominate your Vauxhall Man of the Match.
Been some good performances, I think, from England tonight. I don't think anybody's outshone that guy. Jack Wilshere for me is the man of the match. Some great running forwards, excellent incisive passing. He's kept going right to the last.
All live football on ITV at the weekend with the final of the Africa Cup of Nations on ITV4 on Sunday from 6 o'clock. Burkina Faso just claimed their place in the final against Nigeria. And our Champions League coverage resumes next week with Celtic versus Juventus Tuesday evening, 7:30 on ITV. Joe Hart saved a Ronaldinho penalty here before Wayne Rooney gave England the lead. Fred equalised just after half-time, but one of the England substitutes, Frank Lampard, restored their lead, and they are now within touching distance of their 4th ever victory over Brazil. First since Gary Lineker's winning goal here in March 1990. I won't mention the penalty he missed 2 years later. Gary Woodward will forget all about that.
Tonight's Vauxhall Man of the Match.
And ball given against Rooney.
It is England number 8, Jack Wilshere.
Popular choice. Shea to O'Rourke. Now, Dani Alves. It's clever from Lucas. Roca. Lucas has got sprightly pace. And here's Dani Alves and Fred. Smalling picking his time to clear.
Just get it out there. Don't watch it, just move it, that's it.
The 45th player used in the 13 internationals of Roy Hodgson. Learning all the time about his resources. He's just starting to relearn about what Brazil have. 1 or 2 players missing. Thiago Silva, who normally play at the heart of the defence, is injured. Here's Neymar. Oscar. Going to shoot himself. Joe Hart has the post covered.
He's played really well. He's run Jack Wilshere close. He's been excellent for his team.
Rooney's goal came after 27 minutes after Theo Walcott was denied. And England mistake led to Fred's equaliser before Frank Lampard, with that beautifully positioned shot, restored an England lead, which is edging them now towards a landmark victory. Spain in the not too distant past here. Here they are now very close to adding Brazil to their list of victims.
A lot of friendlies you play, Clive, sometimes come away from really international football feeling not quite sure what you've learned, what you've really got out of it, and then you know you're going to get a game like this one come along where you're in good company playing against a lot of top players. Getting a result against teams like this does you the power of good as a group. It really does.
Really thinks he kept it in. He's competitive to the last.
It's just whether it hits Dante's foot right at the last moment there. Just here. Yeah, it does.
Yep. 1956, England's first ever game against Brazil here. 4-2 winners, despite missing 2 penalties on the night, England. 1984 in Rio, John Barnes' sensational goal. 1990 here at Wembley, courtesy of Gary Lineker's winner. Dani Alves. Charged down by Milner. Lucas, little flick from Fred. Joe Hart's got his safe hands on the ball.
He's just trying to drop that in the path of Oscar, isn't he, there, Fred? Just doesn't quite make the flip. Another good one from Lucas, who's been more influential as the game's gone on.
Vital games coming up against San Marino and Montenegro, both away from home towards the back end of next month. They're the matches England have got to win. Winning this one won't do them any harm. Dante, though, has found Neymar. Fred waits in the centre. Here is Fred. Back towards Neymar. It was that man Wilshere who got back to deny him. Jan. Hard lays claim. England beat Brazil. In any circumstances, in any era, the measure of an international team is a victory over the very best. Roy Hodgson and Phil Scolari have got bigger fish to fry in the future. But that is a heartening victory for England, both in terms of the result itself and many aspects of the performance. To Frank Lampard goes the honour of scoring England's winner tonight. Joe Hart's contribution was immense in the early stages when England needed a steadier. And Steven Gerrard has led England to victory over Brazil.